Just a moment, gentlemen. Well, uh, we are now live on YouTube. Oh, the great
Yeah.
internet. How are you all, gentlemen, this morning?
Good, good. You, John?
Well, I'm fantastic. I mean, for a Friday before Christmas,
I know. Yeah.
I think I'm doing okay. But I am feeling like I'm feeling like I'm starting to ease into the
Yeah. Yeah.
holiday fever, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So thank you both, all three of you, for coming on to our live chat. Uh, this is a function of the Sidney Breakfast Club, now evolving into the Peninsula Business Incubator. More and more folks are really wanting it to be referenced that way.
Okay.
And we had you folks on as a panel, I think 2 weeks ago,
Mm-hmm.
and very well attended. Man, that was
Mm-hmm.
that was I think our best attended session. So thank you very much for that.
You're
And
welcome.
we find with some of those really fascinating panel discussions that we have this now sort of after hours thing, like
Mm-hmm.
sort of where we can maybe dig into something a little deeper. And because we're live, if someone pops on, we will certainly ask their questions. And
Mm-hmm.
at this stage, just for your awareness, we do have 38,000 people waiting.
Yay! Only 38,000, John? Only?
Yeah, only 38,000. Sorry, I wanted to crack 40.
It's the
So
holidays.
That's right.
We get more in
exactly,
January.
exactly. So for our audience, I think we should introduce ourselves. Um, I manage the Sidney Breakfast Club, and I'm also heavily involved with advocacy. I'm involved with digital marketing,
Mm-hmm.
all kinds of stuff that I love to do with Harbor Digital Media. Sean, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Besides the sidekick and the color commentary and monitoring the chat, which keeps me quite busy for all the thousands of followers, I'm
Exactly.
also a marketer, a direct response marketer, going with new and even the older style methods of print, which I love because for a whole lot of reasons I won't get in here because you're the guests.
And you and I, Sean, go back when I used to have some hair and when I used to be thinner,
I can identify with that profile, John.
which was in the 90s. Holy mac, maybe 90s. So Sean and I go back and really appreciate his help on
Yeah.
these live broadcasts.
Yeah.
So Steve, go ahead.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
I would comment that Rob and I have a similar sort of, um, I don't know, relationship in that he reminds me that at one point in time I was also slim, um, and not so slim anymore. But yeah, my name's Steve Harris. I run this company, AI for Enterprise, and essentially at the core of what we do, we help organizations adopt generative AI. And over the last year and a half, we've worked with over 30 organizations, either presenting, training, executing projects on their behalf, or actually working with senior leadership teams and the various teams in the organization on AI adoption.
and very, very honored to have you on the show
Thank you.
today and on our panel last week.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Go ahead, Robert.
Yeah, I'm Rob from PlusROI Online Marketing. Been a digital marketer in PlusROI since 2007. We launched it, and I am exactly 2 weeks shy of being 25 years as a full-time digital marketer, which is
Wow.
crazy. And seeing a lot of parallels from when digital marketing got really strong to what's happening right now and the internet as well, but what's happening right now with AI and kind of had some revelations in 2024 that made me realize that I had better get right on top of it. And so I've been spent all of 2025 sort of embedding solutions in our company, new offerings for our clients that relate to AI. We were one of the first agencies in Canada to launch a dedicated AI optimization offering. And yeah, and I've been having a lot of fun with Steve here. We've been running twice monthly AI meetups down at Viatech. So these Viatech AI meetups have been, yeah, seeing ton of amazing speakers and
Oh
just
yeah.
have learned an absolute ton, as well as organizing the the ViTech Prompt Victoria conference, along with Steve and the Victoria Data Society. That just, yeah, it's been a real year of learning,
Yeah.
which has been really exciting. And from what I can see, that's not going to slow down
That's
with
right.
everything that's
Ah,
happening.
yeah, that's not.
Right.
I just want to emphasize these meetups. Okay,
Yeah.
it's the only place in the region in which a person could go and start to learn about AI and how to adopt it with their business outside of hiring you guys, which would also be an excellent option.
Mhm.
So thank you for that. So at our meeting at Sidney Breakfast Club last week, by the way, Santa Claus showed up for a while,
That's
and
right,
and
he
when
did. That's right.
He did.
and he yeah, exactly, it was quite a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And but Santa and identified that the Chat GPT image capacity was not as strong as Gemini and Nano Banana. And I indicated, of course, Rob respectfully disagreed with me. I love that, or Santa, sorry. And I had then stated that I think I stated that it's such a competitive landscape that in fact that this won't stay this way.
Mhm.
And in fact, within the last 10 days, ChatGTP has now put out an image creator, which is extraordinary. I mean, I've been using it. So, this is where we're at, gentlemen, isn't it? Like
Mhm.
somebody willing to do something over here, next day it's over here. By the time we do something again, maybe 3 months from now, the four of us or something,
Mhm.
who knows what we're going to be doing? Hope maybe mirages will be showing up.
Right. Yeah.
Robert, what do you think? Have you used, or the both of you, have you used that feature? And then more broadly, when does the pace of change slow down, if at all?
Yeah, well, I haven't actually used it yet. I'm looking forward to trying it. Yeah, with where Gemini has been with the Nano Banana, it's kind of near perfect. And we've actually created solutions for clients to be able to create images for them that are, yeah, just ridiculously good. And yeah, next stop, I'll try the same instructions from there in ChatGPT and see what the heck happens.
If the same kind of prompts work, or if you need to modify the prompts for each one.
I've played with it for a week,
Yeah.
and it's creating, you know, I find slide decks to be very powerful for business and
Oh yeah.
video, and
Mhm.
for us to, for me to put instead of B-roll, I place the slide deck over the video,
Mhm.
extraordinarily more interesting.
Mhm.
And so it was able to create a slide deck and rather comparatively to Nano Banana. So, oh, by the way, I see that Aaron Bremner from Cascadia Seaweed is online. Hi, Aaron. I think I'm not sure if you're being facetious or not, but she's saying print is making a comeback.
Yeah, that was from
Not
my
actually,
comment.
not yeah, not
Yeah.
not far off. I mean, I've brought back business cards. I mean, in a simple way, right? Just because it seems to be getting a little more popular to hand out business cards and a little bit more unique sometimes, John, right? Than the LinkedIn barcode or QR code.
Yes, yes, I know. I keep having to buy business cards
Yeah, yeah,
of all things. And I was getting a little bit tired of somehow trying to
that's right.
match my phone and
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
just pull it out of my
yeah.
wallet.
Well, that was
Um,
some of the comments at the AI meetup. People were saying we're inundated with email because for years we've been saying, even with everything coming on and social, that email is still a very strong, viable alternative for reaching people. But
Mm,
some are saying, no, we're overwhelmed. We
mm,
still get too many emails and we're missing too much and they're getting blocked.
mm,
Print, as long as we can go through Canada Post, doesn't. So that's a whole other topic.
mm,
Certainly, one of the purposes of being online is to communicate with folks online. So I'm sorry if I interrupt anybody, but I'm putting some priority to our comments as they
mm.
come on. And Aaron is met, and we're now having a dialogue with somebody online. And her comments are layered text is the future in video. John, so he's talking to me. You bet, Aaron. She was on a marketing trends call yesterday, and magazines and direct mail were talked about. People, she indicates, are craving tangible things. What's your reaction to that, gentlemen?
Yeah, I'll take a stab at that, but to be quite honest, John, I'm probably the wrong person because for the last 40 plus years, I've lived in an intangible world, right? I've been a technologist for 40 years, and over 40 years, and to be honest, though, some of the more interesting projects I've been involved in, like I was the project manager for BC Ferries for the build out of the atrium building. I've done ship rebuilds and stuff like that from a technology perspective, and being
Ah,
involved in those tangible projects from a technology perspective or technologist perspective has been fascinating because very often the technology we develop, to go back to your pace of change, whatever we develop is often only understood by people who are in the industry, you know, the depth and the complexity of what we develop. And within about 5 years, it's been surpassed by something else. I can understand the desire for something tangible.
I'd love to hear Rob's reaction.
Yeah, I think it's has to do with, there's some talk about people craving sort of personal experiences and and connection, which I think between COVID and technology and social
Mm-hmm.
media, there's been kind of a loss of connection. And I think that, yeah, there is something, I think, yeah, the print probably relates to that. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a print revolution. I mean, it's kind of like vinyl in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
It's tactile and it's great to handle, but it's not going to replace Spotify is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, but definitely, I think yeah, part of that just yeah, the tactile and personal connection, I think, is
Mm.
more present in print than digital stuff.
I think it has to do a lot with the pace of change. Like, honestly,
Mm.
I feel
Could be.
sometimes, see, even I feel overwhelmed with the amount. Well, so it used to be that I would get some piece of content
Mhm.
and I would be able to repurpose that content one or two ways. Okay. And then that's what we were selling to clients. It's a value add that if you take your core content, guess what? We can do these different things with it,
Mhm.
reaching different markets and
Mhm.
potentially increasing sales. That wheel has just exploded
Yeah.
to where I can now take a piece of content and literally create a dozen things, and each of them's different and unique. And a week from now, I'll be able to do that differently yet again.
Mhm.
And that is sometimes overwhelming. Where you go, what's that word? FAMO? Is that what kids use? That I'm not
FOMO.
what? Yeah,
FOMO.
is
Oh,
Yeah.
fear of
right,
Fear
missing
of
out,
missing out.
FOMO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
right. And I fear that I'm missing out all the time.
Yeah.
But Sean, you're in this game selling directly to clients as well. What's your reaction?
Yeah, there is so much out there, and any method will work. And one of the big issues in the old days, we had very few channels. Like we could do TV or we could do print. People had one or two newspapers in their community. And now it's hundreds, and you can have a target market, the same target market that is getting all of their information from different sources. So in one sense, we have to try to stay on top, but on the other, that's overwhelming. So we need to narrow down to exactly who we're after and then pick whatever channels we can stay on.
Mm.
So we'll see if how AI can do in creating everything. It's interesting on a talk on AI. We've been talking about print.
Yeah.
Right, right. Well, thank you, Aaron. I love it. Well, another thing that Sean and I chatted about beforehand, and we're really down the client pathway here, and reaction. Something we weren't able to do at the panel discussion. That being, people don't want to know how we make the soup or make the
Mhm.
cake. They
Mhm.
they they want to cross the line
Mhm.
and so to some degree, we can have these chats, and the client will go, I don't really care.
Don't
I
really
need
care.
a
Yep.
25% increase in revenue.
Mhm.
Here's the money, and I'll see you in 3 months.
Mhm.
And meanwhile, we're mucking around trying to figure out how to cross that finish line.
Mhm.
And I still don't entirely feel there's a recognition of the amount of work that goes in to cross that finish line.
Mhm. Yeah, I think just the to go back to that pace of change and lead up to that point. Just some historical context, and another thing Rob reminds me of is how old I am. I wrote my first piece of code in 1978, right,
Oh, attaboy.
on a teletype with an
Hello
acoustic
world,
coupler.
is that it?
With an acoustic coupler that was basically with a rotary dial phone, you put it into a wooden box, and, right. So I've lived through all of this change, and that's why I love the industry that I'm in. Is because of the pace of change. And one thing I've noticed is that that pace of change over those decades has has compounded, right? So we're in a situation where we are now that compounding is just carrying on. So what we're seeing now, to your earlier point, is going to increase over the coming years, and I don't quite know what that means for the marketing component of this discussion, but we will see a compounding increase in the I was going to say complexity, but in the functionality of the software that's coming our way and the systems that are coming our way.
Well, it's interesting too, John, to your point of people and customers not wanting to know how things are made.
Mhm.
Um, I totally agree with that, but it's almost more important now than ever to have some understanding of how things are made because there's just so much hype and so many opportunistic solutions that have little value. And
Mhm.
I mean, in speaking to the marketing world, seen that for well, decades now with like SEO
Mhm.
salespeople. And I mean, if you're in business, you're getting an SEO pitch every day, and 99 out of 100 of those are companies that would literally just take your money and probably damage your presence versus
Yeah.
actually help out. So it is kind of really important to understand at least a bit of it. And I'm seeing that right now. I just actually got off a call for a product demo for a content creation tool that I there's some question as to whether it will create original enough content to be considered good quality.
Mhm.
And that's where one of the big LLM executives the other day was just talking about, well, it's like in terms of showing up in AI searches, he said, I'd be really careful about having your site being seen as untrustworthy or low quality because it might be really, really hard to come back from that.
Mhm.
So it's interesting. And again, the solutions that are being pitched to people to basically pollute the internet with like, oh, let's do 40 blog posts a month and it'll be great. We'll publish at scale. And it's like, well, nobody's ever going to see it. And it's probably going to get you on the naughty list.
Right.
But again, just, yeah, I've gone on way too long, but just about, I don't think business owners can afford to not learn at least a little bit about it.
Yeah.
I just
I'll
posted
build on. Oh, go ahead,
I
Sean.
just
Sorry.
posted links to your article on LinkedIn, Rob, about why your ads aren't working, part one. So I guess you'll address some of that in part two. Would you want to give a 3 sentence summary of that? Because that ties in.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of different from AI, but yeah, just touching on, yeah, folks who are doing online advertising and not doing the right type of ads for where folks are at in their purchase life cycle. So doing, for instance, search ads for people that don't understand their problem yet. So they're not yet looking for the solution, or people who know there's a solution out there but are, and so are now searching for a solution. Like those are the sort of folks, should be targeting with search ads. And yeah, I don't want to go too deep into that, but
But folks will have a
yeah.
link, Rob, so that they can follow that dialogue.
Oh,
Steve, you were
fantastic.
gonna, Steve,
Yeah,
you were gonna.
I was just going to build on something Rob was saying there, which is almost like first principles. Right? Even though this technology is so new and very, very powerful, and will continue to grow in its power and performance, there's still first principles that apply in implementing systems like this in organizations. You're still working with people, so organizational change management approaches, change management, training. Um, Depending on the scale of the organization, some policy. So those things still hold true. But to Rob's point, you still have to understand the impact of the technology to understand then how to apply those within organizations. So you still have to do those things, right? Because ultimately, this technology is working with people, right?
Steve, I can't agree more. Man, oh man, I've had numerous conversations with
Right.
folks recognizing that I'm using AI and I'm using the
Uh-huh.
business, I'm promoting AI, and folks my age. So, okay, I know you all think that I'm in my 30s. That is not the case.
Oh, 20s, John. 20s.
But I am a post 60-year-old man
Uh-huh.
and therefore hang out with people at that age. And I've had now numerous conversations with folks who were at that sort of, if you recall, early 2000s where that we were just adopting web pages
Uh-huh.
and should businesses or not adopt a web page? Should
Uh-huh.
they be online? If you recall those days. And there are those stubborn owners slash individuals who go, don't need to, never need to, won't. I came across numerous people like that this past week.
Uh-huh.
Don't have to get involved with AI. And my answer to them is, okay, let's analogize here to a
Uh-huh.
carpenter, red seal
Uh-huh.
carpenter,
Uh-huh.
and think about their belt with this
Uh-huh.
construction, their tools that they have on their belt.
Okay.
And believe it or not, those tools are maybe 20 of them are there.
Uh-huh.
And about every year or so, at least in that industry, those tools improved. You had to change
Uh-huh.
the tools because the other guy down the street had the new tools and they were building houses faster
Uh-huh.
and they were able to get ROI faster.
That's right.
And that and the tools just didn't magically appear on your belt. You had to
Uh-huh.
analyze and sort of understand the environment and understand how those tools were impacting your business.
Uh-huh.
They don't just AI just doesn't magically take over.
Uh-huh.
You have to analytically use it
Uh-huh.
appropriately.
Uh-huh.
Human beings are still the center of the wheel.
Uh-huh.
Well, the first time I saw a framing nailer, I was amazed because in my construction days, I know what it's like to swing a hammer on a nail. And when I saw a framing nailer, it was, wow, this is amazing. And I view AI like that. Wow, this is amazing. I
Mhm.
still need to do stuff, but it makes things so much easier.
That's
Well, I think
right.
what we're seeing though is we're seeing that progression step into a space that hasn't had that progression, which is knowledge management and knowledge use. And
Mhm.
that's what this tool does, right? It allows us to access knowledge in a conversational way, as opposed to having to learn SQL, having to learn R, or these other more esoteric tools. So it's made a lot of that a lot of that more accessible. So it's new from that context, right? And it takes time for people to get over. And I've seen this to get over the sort of sense of I'm cheating by using it. And I had this exact question in a session I ran just over a week ago. And in that example, the CFO was in the room, so I was able to say, well, think about a CFO's role or an accountant's role to take the tool belt analogy. Go back far enough, logbooks were used in school, right? Slide rules. And then calculators came along, and then VisiCalc came along, and then Lotus 123, and then Microsoft Excel. But nobody looks at an accountant and says, you're cheating because you're using Microsoft Excel to prepare accounting information, right? We're going to see that same sort of adoption hurdle dealt with in adopting generative AI, particularly when it comes to accessing unstructured data like voice, video, documents inside an organization to be able to leverage that. Right. So yeah, lots of little bits of psychology and all sorts of stuff in play in adopting these tools, John.
Did you want to say something, Rob? Because
Oh,
I do, I do. So Rob and I go back, and in fact, there was a point when we were thinking about merging our various services with back then Paul Holmes, if you recall, Rob, of early days of social media camp, etc.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, oh yeah, we. So my point being is that I have also been involved with digital technology and companies using it with their business and and selling the products that are created by digital technology and owning my own companies. I've always been on the front end. Okay, I've
Mhm.
never been the coder. I do not know how to code.
Right.
I've been the person sort of bundling the package, hiring the coders, hiring the designers, and I recall very distinctly as we're creating online learning tools with eTraffic Solutions, a company I started 100 years ago, that we had maybe 30 to 35 designers,
Okay.
40 developers. It took that many folks to sort of produce these digital tools. I didn't know how to code. These days, I'm creating micro modules on my own, one guy.
Yeah.
It's gone from 70 to 1. And with the implementation and easier access to graphic creation, I mean, so now I'm presenting myself as I actually have a staff of half a dozen. And my AI staff member is a graphic designer. I have a content creator. Because people don't believe that I can do it. You know, that's impossible. Well, guess what? It isn't.
It's going to be an interesting future for sure, because definitely historically I've dealt with the concept of technical debt in a very real way, where applications have been developed by citizen developers or people out in the community, and then we've had to spin up projects and spend money and a lot of time to actually bring those applications into a managed state. And I think we could end up in a situation where there's a lot of technical debt that creates a lot of jobs in the technical space over the coming years. But it'll be interesting to see. We're breaking new ground all around. If you take a look at tools like Replit or Lovable that allow you to actually develop full-scale applications and then deploy them to production based on prompts, it's quite compelling. And certainly my coding productivity has gone through the roof using Claude for sure.
Okay. Wow. Fascinating. So you are also going from a team of potentially a dozen or so to 1. And you've got these AI staff members.
I feel like a team of 6, and to be honest, John, for the amount of money that you pay, like $30 a month or whatever it is for each of these models, $30 to $40 a month, and I have 5 that I subscribe to. I feel like I'm working in a team of 6, and I think the ROI is realized within the first 2 days of the month, sort of thing, right?
That is amazing.
My experience.
But what hasn't changed in this digital environment is people's people, yes, of course, but people's attention spans. And so we're getting on to about half an hour here, and they still have short attention spans.
Right.
And so why don't we shift to potentially a little more in-depth discussion before we say goodbye to everybody around what can we expect in 2026, understanding the pace of changes like a tsunami. Give us a little bit, all 3 of you. What do you think this is going to look like next year?
Sure. Yeah, I can dive in. I think based on the last 18 months or so, I think the low levels of literacy and adoption will continue. I think that's something we actively have to work on as a country and as a province. I think we'll start to see, just because of the maturity of the agentic frameworks. 2025 was supposed to be the year of agents, but anybody who was developing agents in 2024 could see that the maturity just wasn't there. I think we'll start to see more agent adoption as opposed to just large language model adoption in 2026. But those are my 2 sort of off the cuff observations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think maybe we will finally see the adoption that I was kind of expecting in 2025 that never happened. The more it does seem to be finally hitting that pace, and then continued improvement in all the tools. I think we'll have some new industries emerging out of it. I don't know exactly what those will be yet, but I think there will be new industry categories that are created in 2026. And I think there will be I think you'll be able to create agents without using code by the end of the year effectively.
Wow. Fabulous. How about you, Sean?
I don't know if I'd say I'm not as optimistic. I think the adoption won't be as great. I talk with a lot of people who just tell me the problems they have with AI. And they're afraid of it, and they're concerned about all of this. And it seems to reinforce the pyramid that we've had and the Pareto principle and so on, the top 20% and the top 5% that grasp something and use something and probably even reinforced by that study that was brought up at the Breakfast Club last week. The small percent of companies recognizing an ROI. So people will try, they'll get scared. It certainly means there's opportunities for people to set them up and show them, but it may not be that they continue. Like we've given people the ability to create their own websites easily, for example, and they're just creating more garbage. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, I'm going to challenge you folks, and let's do a little bit of science fiction talk here.
Okay.
So right out of the gate, folks tend to evaluate the brand of artificial intelligence as something that is actually that there's an intelligent, that there is a sort of a moving forward, taking pieces and creating new data. When in fact, fundamentally, that's not happening. We're using old data and we're managing that data and we're creating product, but there's not a human function going on. I have heard something, is it called regenerative AI, that in fact there's some technology down the road that is getting to that point. Am I just blowing smoke here?
Yeah, you're talking about AGI and ASI, so artificial general intelligence and artificial superintelligence. So AGI is when we get to the point where artificial intelligence is equivalent to a human, and ASI is when you get to a point where artificial intelligence is equivalent to all humans.
What do you think about that? Is that actually being...
Well, we actually had a speaker on the technical track at the AI meetup that was talking about a new approach to neural networks, around biological neural networks using 3D ray tracing, because models that we have now are trained at a point in time on a set of data, and they don't adapt over time, and they don't have an interface to the physical world. Biological neural networks was proposed as a way to have adaptive networks that just modify themselves and adapt. So there's research underway. I mean, the time horizon for that, John, I have no idea. There's a really sort of one of the sort of founders of artificial intelligence as we currently understand it, Yann LeCun, who's left Meta. You constantly see him or comments in LinkedIn. Yann doesn't believe in we're going to get to AGI with large language models, but he shouldn't be. He should be looking 5 or 10 years ahead. He's doing exactly what he should be doing as a researcher. So ultimately, could we get there? Probably. I have no idea on a time horizon. I mean, you can do a Google and you probably have anything from 2 years to 20 years to never, right?
Yes.
But I think if you take a combination of factors, the development in robotics, the developments in quantum computing, you throw AI into the mix. Yeah, we're in for an interesting ride over the next couple of years for sure.
Oh,
that's about all I could say, really, realistically.
Well, it's interesting that you suggested Googling it.
Right. Yeah, I know. That's just become part of the what do you call it? The vernacular, right? It's just a phrase. It's like Q-tips, right?
Exactly. Right, like Kleenex or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I do recall because I lived before all this stuff existed. And folks asked me, well, where did the internet eventually start? And of course, it was in the military.
Yeah,
1959. Yeah.
So if we are to think about this conversation within that context, it's entirely possible shit is going on in the military that is accelerating these developments, and we don't even know it. In and around robots. I mean, look at how warfare has changed in the Ukraine-Russia conflict, to where it's ostensibly now these drones and it's drone warfare, and so this stuff is happening for sure.
Yeah, from the defense military perspective, it's considered there's about 3 generations, 3 stages behind that the publicly knows about. And they've got stuff so much more advanced, like even what they were doing with space research and comet impacts and so on, that nobody knew anything about. They were making fantastic discoveries they couldn't talk about. So yes, quite likely there's certain governments and military that have stuff that's so much more advanced.
So, John, the
Yes.
only thing I'd add to that is technology, as I've seen it over the years, has a naturally compounding effect, which I talked about earlier on. And you'll basically get situations where, because the technology is advanced, we can advance even more quickly, right? And that's what we're seeing now. We've had this major leap, so we can advance more quickly. Protein folding, right, was a classic that came out of the recent artificial intelligence developments. So we've made massive leaps, and we'll continue to compound in terms of the way technology advances, right?
I was
Okay.
reading recently, it was a science fiction authors. They get together and usually they place their stories about 35 years in the future and they
Okay.
talk about what's going to happen. But at this conference, they were saying they can't do that anymore because they just can't see even 25 years in the future.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a fabulous anecdote.
Yeah.
Gentlemen, we are going to end our conversation. I think it's going to be one that will continue
Sure.
throughout the year. I sure hope you can join us in the future.
Yeah,
A couple
absolutely.
of things. Can you please emphasize again the Viatech meetup? Okay. This is, I think we should really broadcast and profile this as a place to go for
Mhm.
anyone who wants to just dip their toe or even more than that with their business.
Sure. Rob, do you want to do the business side and I'll
Yeah,
do the tech side?
Mhm.
for sure. Yeah, the meetups occur on the second Thursday and fourth Thursday of the month. So the next one we have coming up is January 8th. I'm actually presenting at that one, which happens every so often on creative technologies for 2026 around content and images and
Yes.
that sort of stuff. And then
Where's
yeah,
the
Steve will.
location and time,
It is
please?
it is at Viatech at 777 Fort Street. Coffee's on at 11:30 and the presentation starts at noon and goes till
Oh, it's a
1.
luncheon
And
presentation. Great.
Mhm.
yeah, and then a bit of time before and after to network and hang out. But
Okay.
yeah, the main presentation is noon to 1. Uh, Ideally, folks can register on Eventbrite. If you look for the Viatech AI Meetup, it will show up on there. And yeah, and yeah, Steve, I think you'll have your new one posted shortly.
Yeah, we'll do. Yeah, over the next couple of days. The next tech stream, so I run the technical stream, is on the 21st. Same time slot, same place. And we cover on the technical side of things anything from the underlying math. We've had speakers come in and talk about the underlying math, to how
Wow.
to deploy multi-agent systems and what works in production. So they tend to be way more technically focused. But still, we try and make things accessible. And as Rob said, it's great for networking half an hour before and half an hour afterwards. And we have had situations where they've been so engaging that I think Viatech asked us to leave because there was a group of people that were just wouldn't stop talking to each other. Um, it's been fascinating to watch over this last year. It's been amazing.
And to be clear, I think that was just to get us out of the boardroom for the next guests
Oh
in the
yeah, that's
boardroom.
right.
But
That's right.
there's
Not because
always
we're being
there's
rambunctious or anything like it was just yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
They needed it
Well,
to be
Fort
moving on.
Victoria is a lovely place to meet, just up by Fort and Blanchard. It's sort of near there,
Mm.
and I love the meeting room. Do you
Yeah.
have to be a member of Viatech to attend?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm not an I attend. I just put from the Viatech site and Eventbrite, the next one or the last one, and then the next one. I just put that
Thank
into
you,
the
Sean.
chat.
Oh,
And I
much
go, and
appreciated.
I do recommend people go. The topics vary. That some people will feel it's way over their heads, and others may feel that they can grasp it or barely grasp it,
Mhm.
but the mind will stretch just being
Mhm.
there.
Well,
Yeah, I think
for
the business topics are pretty accessible, and the technical topics are often above my head, but I've enjoyed every one of them. So
yes, yes. Well, look, at the very least, people should um, entertain the fact that in 2026 they have got to understand AI. They have got to accept that it's in our lives and
Mhm.
that it's going to, if not already, significantly impact everything we do.
Mhm.
Gentlemen, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
John.
this.
Thank you.
Have a great holiday season and Merry Christmas. And from Santa, ho, ho, ho.
All
ho
right. Cheers,
ho
John. Thank you.
ho.
Thank you.
Yeah, good to see you, Sean. Cheers, Rob.
So the stream is ended. And there we go. Sorry, there. Now I ended it.